everybody, my name is Dawn Vogelfang, and my project is the effects of poverty on academic achievement. So why did I choose this topic? Well, I'm a fifth grade teacher. I teach special education in an inclusion classroom. 31% of the students in my school district are proficient in reading. Only 29% are proficient in math. Only 41% of students in the school district where I work will graduate, and 67% of the students where I work are eligible to receive free or reduced lunch. So poverty in American schools is a big concern. Over 50 million Americans live below the poverty level, and you can see here in New York, 48% of students are living in poverty. Children who are poor, they also lack financial resources, mentors, role models, and efficient support systems. Poor and rich children, they cannot compete on the same level. Children who come from districts that have more money, they perform better. Many scholars have hinted that poverty is a state of mind, but it has an effect on academic achievement. So how poverty affects academics: there's higher dropout rates or children that do not finish high school. Children have poor physical health and motor skills. There's a readiness gap. When children come to school in kindergarten, they're not as ready as students in other districts. The test scores are lower, and there's a decreased abilities, concentration, memory, attentiveness, curiosity, and motivation. I highlighted that because that's one of the focuses of my project. Poverty also affects a child's growth, and it persists or continues into adulthood. So children, when they're living in poverty, they often can feel ashamed, and it affects their relationships as they grow into adults. And again, that's also highlighted because that's another focus of my project, to help students with their peer relationships. Children in poverty, they cannot participate always in extracurricular activities and trips, but the research shows that those are necessary to the development of children. Children from low-income households have low cognitive development. There's research that shows that they have higher rates of psychiatric disorders. Many children from poor families start school late, and then they need to repeat grades to catch up. So I see this in my school. My school starts in first grade, and the first grade teachers are always saying how the students come to school and they don't even know their alphabet, and so they don't know A, B, C, D. So poverty also affects brain development. Children from poverty have cognitive lags, social challenges, and emotional issues. And also children who live in poverty, they attend poor schools. The principals have limited budgets, and limited school budgets restrict the quality of education and amenities that teachers can give to the students. So, for example, smart boards, laptops, computers, math manipulatives, all the things that teachers should have to increase the motivation of students. My project consists of numerous techniques to assess. I'll be observing students, self-assessments, students will participate in a reflection survey, exit tickets to see that they are actually learning the concepts that are taught, pre-assessment to see what they currently know, and an end of unit assessment to see how much they've grown. So here is one example of a self-assessment which will be used during the lesson. So when students are, when they take ownership of their learning, they're more motivated to learn. So after I read the objective to the students, they will come up with their own success criteria. So I'll ask them to tell me what we are learning today, how we're going to do it, and how we'll be successful. And then they will create their own success criteria. So I will know I am successful when I have solved 4 out of 6 two-step word problems by using the strategy, and then they pick the strategy that they'll be using for that day. So that gives them ownership, which should increase their motivation. Other self-assessment tools during the lesson, I'll ask, show me your level of understanding, and the students will hold up their fingers, 1, 2, 3, or 4. 4 is that they fully understand it. 1 is that they don't at all. And then the classwork rubric will be used after the independent activity. They'll be assessing themselves. And again, the idea is that giving students ownership of their learning before, during, and after the lesson will increase their motivation. Another self-assessment during group work, I'll stop them and I'll say, I'll ask these questions. So they'll be assessing their group participation. And then the reflection survey will be at the bottom of every exit ticket. They'll rate themselves from a level of 1 to 4. I was motivated throughout the lesson today. I enjoyed working with my classmates today. I learned a lot. I want to learn this way again. So this survey is to see if they're noticing that they're becoming more motivated to learn. So like I said before, poor students attend poor schools, and the principals have limited budgets. So the first learning outcome will be that poor schools will be given donations from Donors Choose so that they can buy all of these materials. Smartboard, laptops, math games, markers, chart paper, math manipulatives such as fraction strips, and a small group table and an easel. The second learning outcome is that poor students from marginalized communities will increase their motivation and curiosity for education, and all of these strategies will increase their motivation. So working in groups of students, students will work to figure out problems on their own. They'll be using hands-on materials and manipulatives to do that. Small group lessons, the incorporation of games, and ownership of their learning. So all of these techniques will not be used in one lesson. It'll be throughout the unit. Each day it will change so that their motivation and their engagement and their ownership of learning continues. So these are techniques that are going to be used throughout the unit. So an example of a problem that they're going to solve or figure out by themselves, they'll just make a graffiti board. So they'll be drawing all over the paper with markers, and they're just, what do they notice? So I noticed that, and they'll just write everything that they notice. And these were the use of manipulatives too. And then they'll share out. This is another example of a problem that they'll solve by themselves. They'll be given, not by themselves, I'm sorry, with a group of students. They'll be given fraction strips, string, and they can solve it however they want. They can draw pictures, they can use the string, they can use the fraction strips, but they'll be working with a group and they're figuring out the problem with their classmates. So the second learning outcome is that poor students from marginalized communities will increase their motivation and curiosity for education by using technology. So some of the technology that they'll be using is a smartboard, videos from YouTube, a website called Powtoons, and I'll show you that. Seesaw, another website that I'll show you, Kahoot, and quizzes. So the first website I'll show you is Seesaw. So this is an example. So the students, this would be used like an exit ticket. They go on to, once they are given the laptops from DonorsChoose, they go onto this website. And as you can see, they're drawing on the screen themselves. They're explaining their work. And it's just one tool to increase motivation. And the next two are Kahoot and quizzes. So Kahoot is used to review for a test, and quizzes is to take the test. So the students will be working in groups, and in their groups on the smartboard, they'll see this question, and then on their laptop, they put in the correct answer, and then you can see right away which group is in the lead and which one is not. So that's just one way to motivate them to review for the entire unit. The next website is quiziz.com, and the students go onto this website to take a test. So instead of a paper and pencil test, they go on and they're given actually their answers right away. So I'll show you an example. This is what it looks like for the students. I just realized that you guys can't hear the sounds, but there is music playing, so they'll answer the question. Nope. And after they answer the question, they're given their results or their answers, if it's right or wrong, right away. So Kahoot is for reviewing, quizzes is for taking the test, Seesaw is a strategy to use while they're learning, and then there's also Powtoons. And I just realized that you guys can't hear what I can hear, but there is music playing. So this is Powtoons. The students create a video to explain how they solve problems. So a student, this is an example, a student created this video. And there's music playing. Okay, so that's Powtoons. And again, after they are utilizing one of these strategies, they'll be answering the survey or the exit ticket to see if their motivation is increasing using these strategies. And the third learning outcome is that poor students will work in groups to solve problems so that they can increase their social skills and develop lasting friendships with their peers. So like you saw in the beginning, poor students, they have less social skills and they feel ashamed. So the idea is that they're working in groups and they're growing relationships. So children will be given sentence starters to help them engage in conversations in their groups. So sometimes when children are in groups, they don't know what to say to each other. So they'll be given sentence starters to help them have a conversation. And the children will also be